Today we're going to be giving a lot of focus to the lower body, especially around the feet and the ankles and the hips. As a reminder, if anything doesn't feel right in your practice today, let it go. It's not that big of a deal. Take rest or take a different variation of a posture if you prefer. This yin practice, we move slowly, not just getting settled into the poses, but shifting from one pose to the other. So always remember to just take your time. All that being said, we're going to start seated exactly as we are in Sukhasana, easy seated pose. So find a comfortable cross-legged position. When you find that position, let the hands begin to rest down onto the knees or the thighs. Take a moment, roll the shoulders up to the ears, and then just softly lower them down and back. And you can either close your eyes or just let the gaze settle down the tip of the nose, whatever's most comfortable for you. Begin to feel a sense of softness across the eyebrows and around the ears and jawline. And settle your way down into your seat. Feel the way the sit bones and the thighs, and perhaps the calves and ankles, just settle into the floor. Let yourself feel grounded here in this moment, in this space for a moment. And begin to study the breath. Just letting yourself follow the in-breath in. And feeling the exhale nice and smooth right back out. And if you feel like the mind is a little scattered today, just remind yourself you have nowhere you need to be right now, nothing you need to be doing. You can just be present with this breath, this experience of just being here. As you're ready, we'll bring our hands together to heart center, lightly bowing the chin, taking a moment to perhaps set an intention or feel an opening prayer here. Just find what you need to honor the start of this space. And when you feel settled in that, we're going to release the hands down, maybe flutter the eyes open. Coming into a half butterfly, we'll extend the left leg straight out to the left. It'll be at a little bit of a diagonal position here. Right heel will stay nice and close in towards the pubic bone. Take a moment, just let yourself get settled in. If this feels super uncomfortable in the thighs or the knees, maybe sit on a blanket or a pillow of some sort. Once you get into this position, we're starting from the hips as we move into the forward fold. So feel the hips start to roll forward, start to maybe walk your hands forward. And then just find that very first space where you feel a sense of stretch. And as soon as you find that edge, just stay there and study that space for a second. Give it a breath. Remember, we're not in any rush. Maybe staying on your hands feels comfortable. Maybe at some point it feels okay to drop down to the forearms. We're not pushing ourselves or forcing ourselves into any specific variation. Just feeling it out. I'm just full of suggestions and options. You can take them or leave them. And perhaps we notice the breath might feel a little bit different here. You may notice some new tension settling into the hips or thighs or shoulders, try to relax where you can. Just slow and steady breath. And so we have at least 10 more breaths in this posture. You can stay just as you are, just exploring kind of this deeper fold down through the hips, this more sensation through the inner thighs and groin. If you want to expand a little bit more into the hamstring and take a different variation, you can walk yourself over to the left leg and let the heart kind of start to lean in and over to the left shin. Feel free to readjust as you need to. Please be mindful of any sensations in the knees. Maybe notice how the right side low back feels about all this. Again, just taking 10 breaths. If you shifted over to the side and found that did not work for your body, let it go. Go back right back to center. It's not a big deal. And settling into our last deep exhale here, if you've gone over to the side, over the left leg, let's walk ourselves back to center first, and then walk the hands back into the hips to stack the shoulders just over the hips. Once you get there, just hang out for a moment. Notice any sensations you might be feeling along the back or around the hips or thighs. And then we'll begin to take this to the other side. So you can use your hands to assist you if you like, to help bring the right leg out to the right and scooch the left heel in towards the pubic bone. And just kind of folding forward at first. Remember, as we fold forward, you're going to want to start from the hips. So the hips start to tilt forward, and then the hands walk as far forward as the body will allow for today until you find that very first edge. Now, your edge on this side might feel different than your edge on the other side did. Just honor whatever you feel going on in the left hip or the right thighs. You, of course, have the same options as before, maybe staying on the hands or dropping down to the forearms or the forehead. Let yourself sink as far as you like while maintaining a sense of comfort and ease with the breath. A reminder, you have the option to stay right here in this kind of direct forward fold. If you wanted to shift over to the right leg, if you did that on the other side, stay nice and low. Start to walk yourself over to the right, letting the sternum attempt to align with the right shin. You might feel this around the kind of left QL area or down through the left thigh, or maybe a little bit more through the right hamstring. Just notice what might feel most intense. But also notice the more subtle sensations you might be feeling, maybe around the glutes or the feet even. And your last 10 breaths. Shoulders stay relaxed, face stays relaxed. And settling into your last exhale here, we're going to walk ourselves back to center first, and then walk yourself right back up. Shoulders just stacking over the hips, hanging out there for a moment, kind of feeling any new flush of energy after coming out of the pose. From here, let's move around to the hands and the knees. So just gently release the feet out. You can windshield wiper the knees first if you need to. Otherwise, we're going to sweep the feet around. And then once you come to the hands and knees position, let's take a couple of very gentle cat-cows, knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. Go ahead, feel the belly drop, lightly press the chest forward, tailbone lifts up. Exhale, curling yourself into your cat pose, a little reach of the heart up to the ceiling. And inhale, belly slowly, gently drops. And exhale, light little curl in. Then we're going to come back to neutral, coming into a child's pose. So let's bring the knees about as wide as the mat. Big toes come in together, drop the hips back to the heels, start to walk the hands forward. Forehead can rest down. If you would rather, if you have something like a bolster or a pillow you want to rest onto, you're perfectly welcome to grab any kind of props you want to use here. We'll be here for just a couple minutes, so not too terribly long. You might find that the breath feels, again, slightly different. It's experiencing a different relationship to gravity in this new pose. So let yourself really study how the breath shifts with each different posture. And maybe allow the breath to just glide long into the sides of the body. And settling into your last exhale, you're going to inhale, come on up to the forearms. Now, as we move into our next posture, which is going to be a frog pose, we're going to start off keeping the hips back to the heels. If you're on hardwood like I am, you may want to turn sideways on your mat so that your knees kind of get nice and cushioned. If you're on a carpeted area, maybe the knees can just kind of go a little bit wider. But the hips stay back towards the heels. All we do from here is widen the knees as much as the knees will allow. To go as wide as possible. You'll feel the inner thighs start to talk to you a little bit. That's ideal. The hips can stay relaxed back. Or if you want a little bit more intensity and the body says, okay, you can start to walk yourself forward until your hips align with your knees. And that'll give you a different experience out of the inner thighs. So find your sweet spot with your frog pose. We're only going to be here for 2 minutes. So just try and remain as calm and zen as possible through the breath, through the face, through the energy, as we just hang out and breathe. And maybe you stay on your forearms. Maybe it feels good to reach the arms all the way out and rest on the forehead, kind of like we did with our child's pose. But again, don't push yourself so far that the body starts to tense up too much. Find this fascinating balance between comfort and discomfort. Already on our last 10 breaths, not much longer. And so we've explored child's pose with the knees about mid-width, super wide. Now we're going to bring the knees all the way back together. If your hips are kind of pulled forward in line with your knees, maybe we drop them back. Just get yourself into a position where you can kind of scooch the knees all the way in, feet all the way in, and then settle the hips back to the heels and a little closed knee child's pose, which may offer a little bit more flexion around the spine, forehead again, just relaxing down. You may feel some responses out of the inner thighs. Just listen without judgment to those responses. And settling into your last exhale here, we're going to rise up to hands and knees. Now the knees and feet will remain all the way together. So the knees and feet all the way together here. We're going to move into a toe squat. So let's tuck the toes, start to shift the hips back and sit onto the heels. Now this can feel pretty intense on the toes, so please be mindful of that. Just sit here as long as your body or mind will allow. Otherwise, we'll give it about 2 minutes in this position. So say about 20 breaths or so. Hands resting down onto the thighs, shoulders relaxed, breath is steady, almost using this as just a seated meditation. Let yourself just simply experience the breath, every in, every out. Maybe see if we can soften a little bit more in the soles of the feet and the toes. Notice if you may be kind of clenching the jaw or squishing the eyebrows together. Remember, just relax. And also, though, remember if at any point your body feels like it's had quite enough, you can always come out of the pose. On our last few breaths here. And from here, we're just going to slowly rock forward, come back to the hands and the knees. The toes might feel a little bit creaky after that, no worries. You can either very softly tap out the feet, or something I like to do, especially in a yin class, is just gently roll around the feet and ankles for a second. If you're rolling around the feet and ankles, take it the opposite direction. And again, the feet and knees stay all the way together. This time, bring the tops of the feet down. We're going to start to shift back and sit on the heels again. So now we're going to feel a little bit more sensation through the top line of the feet, through the front of the ankle, maybe even along the shin bones. If this feels like quite enough just as it is, just sitting on the shins like this, I highly recommend just staying as you are. The next level, should you be up to it, you can just lift one shin at a time. Okay, so it'll look like this. You can bring your hands down by your side, maybe lean back a little bit, maybe just the left shin lifts. And you can maybe stay here for about 10 breaths, and then after 10 breaths, take it to the other side. If the body feels okay with it, though, if the ankles feel okay with it, feel free, lift both your shins at the same time. I will call the 10 breath mark if you're doing one leg at a time. Otherwise, again, just breathe and just kind of exist with your feet for a minute, listening to all the fun things they may be having to say right now. If there's tension down in the hips or feet, we give ourselves time to just let it soften on its own, but you can also use that sense of control over your body. Remind those spaces to relax, to soften. You can assist that. If you've been just lifting one shin at a time, go ahead, release that shin down and pick up the other one. Take your time, you're not in any rush, but we are at our halfway point. One more inhale to go. Nice and gently exhale. Everybody release your shins down, slow and steady. Notice how the ankles respond. Same thing again here. We're going to shift forward, maybe tap out the feet or roll out the feet, whatever works best for you. Be super gentle and slow with the ankles. We'll actually come into a downward facing dog, and we're just using our downward dog as a transition point. So let's bring the knees and feet about hip width. Tucking the toes, we're going to shift the hips up and back. Relax the head between the arms. Don't worry, we won't be here long. Once you get into your down dog, though, widen your feet about as wide as your mat. Once your feet go about as wide as the mat, turn the toes out. Let's walk the hands back and begin to sink down into a little squat. Okay, so we're coming to Malasana, our garland pose. Now, if you're coming to the squat position and your knees or your ankles or your hips say absolutely not, you can grab a block or you can grab a couple pillows and just kind of elevate your seat and use a little extra support for the seat. Otherwise, you're doing okay. It's okay if the heels are a little lifted, that's fine as well. If you're doing all right though, hands can come together to heart center. Gentle little push of the elbows into the thighs. Little lift through the crown of the head. We're just going to be here for 10 breaths. Now, if you are here in the pose and everything is feeling pretty solid, feeling pretty good, rather comfortable, you want to challenge your ankle flexibility a little bit more. See how it might feel to pivot your toes in so that the feet go parallel. You can also wiggle the feet a little bit closer, and the ankles will start to talk to you a little bit more. To find that little balance, discomfort and comfort. One more breath here. And release your hands down to the floor. Start to lift your hips up. As you lift your hips up, let's bring the feet so that the feet are about hip distance and that the knees and toes are pointing directly forward. So the toes are no longer pointing out to the side. Keep the knees at a generous bend. You do not need to straighten your legs here. Now the knees stay at a generous bend. Allow your rib cage and head to start to just dangle downwards towards the floor. Now the hands can dangle down to the floor. You can hook your hands into either elbow and crisscross the forearms. The idea is to just completely decompress the spine. Do not worry about kind of expanding too much around the hamstrings or pushing the feet into the floor or any of that. So maybe offer yourself a nice deep inhale, make some space through the torso, and feel your exhale. Just relax the upper body even more. If you want to add some movement here, that's perfectly okay. You can kind of loosely nod the head yes. Maybe shake the head no. Maybe just nice and gentle, rock side to side with the upper body. Two more breaths. If the hands are bound around the elbows or forearms, go ahead and release them. We're just going to gently walk forward, coming back to the hands and the knees. Once you find the hands and knees, moving into a cow pose. Gentle drop of the belly, chest pulling forward. We'll stay in cow for just a couple breaths. And because we've done a good bit of forward folding, we'll add a little bit of extension to the spine here. Moving into Anahatasana, our melting heart pose. Walk your hands forward, sometimes known as a puppy pose. Forearms resting down, forehead resting down, and we're feeling the lower ribs, we're feeling the sternum just sink down into the earth. The hips just over the line of the knees, or maybe slightly forward of the knees, that's fine too. Five more breaths here. If you're carrying a lot of tension in the shoulders and arms, try to relax where you can, or maybe just widen the arms a little bit to make them more comfortable. On your next inhale, gentle lift of the head. Start to walk it all the way back, settling into a child's pose again. Just take your time. Hips rest over the heels. Knees can be as close or wide as you prefer. If the arms still feel kind of intense here, another option for your child's pose is to bring your hands back so that your hands are resting on the floor right on the outside of the ankles, and the shoulders just kind of drape over the knees. That'll give you a little bit more of a turtle back situation. That may feel super comfortable. Maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't, let it go. Find your sweet spot with your child's pose. Wherever the hands are, we're going to plant them down next to the knees. Give the floor a gentle push as we lift the head and chest. Once you lift the head and chest, let's sweep the feet around and have a seat. Now, as you come to a seated position, we'll move into a shoelace posture of the legs. So just starting off with the right leg and kind of seeing how that feels at first. Just bend the right knee in, take the right foot, cross it over the left. So I'm just going to say that one more time. We're going to bend the right knee in, take the right foot, cross it over the left side. Then you can use your left hand to assist the right ankle to slide over to the left hip. Top of the foot's just kind of resting down on the floor. And we feel like the right knee is pointing directly forward. This might feel like enough. If you know your needs and maybe the left knee needs a little just extra gentleness today, maybe we keep the left leg straight today. You can do this whole thing with the left leg straight. Or if it feels comfortable, if it feels accessible, we're going to lean to the left a little bit, bend the left knee so the left foot lands on the outside of the right hip. So it looks a little something like this from the front. You got one foot on the opposite side of the other hip. The knees are attempting to stack on top of one another. Notice I said attempting. It's okay if they don't stack perfectly on top. Shoulders relax. The hips may be talking to you. The knees may be talking to you. If the knees are talking to you, listen very carefully to what they have to say. If there's any pain or sharp sensations in the knees, let it go. Otherwise, you're doing all right. Hold on to the top knee, relax the shoulders, let the hips get settled into this first little bit. You may feel the hips kind of soften in on their own. And once you feel like the hips and thighs have gotten a little more comfortable in the pose, and maybe they haven't, and if they haven't, I recommend just sitting up tall, just studying this. If it feels okay though, we'll begin the journey of folding over the legs. So the hands will just come forward, and just like we did in the very beginning, we're going to start from the hips, which might feel a little uncomfortable. That's okay. We can breathe with discomfort. So the pelvis rotates forward. We start to allow the belly and the chest to sink down towards the legs as the hands walk forward. Only go until you feel that first edge. If it starts to feel too intense, back it up until you find a space where you feel like you can just manage it pretty steadily. Again, as time passes on, maybe the body feels a little more open to just sinking a little bit deeper in. You can follow that call. We're on our last 5 breaths. On your next inhale, slow and steady. If you're folded forward, begin to walk it back in. Stack the shoulders over the hip. Maybe hold on to that top knee again for a little bit of support. About 3 breaths here. Feel free to use your hands to assist you. We're going to take the top leg, gently release it out. If that bottom leg is kind of scooched under, gently release it out. Bringing the feet about hip distance, maybe a little bit wider. Let's windshield up at the knee side to side so you can lean back. Use the hands to support you. Then we'll prepare to do the same thing on the other side. So let's extend the legs out straight first. Now, we're going to do the left leg first. So let's bend the left knee in. Left foot crosses over the right thigh. From here, you can use your right hand to assist your left ankle. Slide it over to the right hip. So the left knee starts to point forward. Hold it there. Just notice any fun sensations. Then, if you like, if and when you feel ready, you can lean to your right, mindful of how the right knee feels about it. Scooch the right foot right on the outside line of the left hip. You can see both of your feet. You're not sitting on either of them. Let's take the first 5 to 10 breaths, just sitting up tall here, letting the hips just get used to this new position. Again, maybe holding onto that top knee, shoulders down, maybe a little lift in the chest. Letting yourself just find a steady breath. Find a commitment to stillness, a commitment to calmness. As the legs and hips start to feel a little bit more settled into the pose, we'll start to fold forward if you like. So the hips start the movement. We rotate the pelvis forward, start to walk the hands forward. Now the hands may just hang out on either side of the knees, and that's okay. Feel that out. Remember, this side probably feels different than the other side did. It's not a big deal. And just take it one step at a time, one breath at a time. As you get more relaxed with where you are, more focused in on nothing but the breath and finding softness, the body starts to release in a little bit more, piece by piece. We're not rushing it. We're not doing anything. We're just letting the breath and gravity guide us into our own tissue. Check in for any tension in the shoulders, face, or hips. Remind yourself to relax. Last few breaths here. If you're folded forward over the leg, use your next inhale to slowly walk it right back in, maybe holding onto that top knee for support. The hips and the spine and the legs may have a lot to say, just listen. Then again, using our hands to assist the legs, we're going to take hold of the top leg, maybe left hand on the left knee, right hand on the left ankle, and lean back to give yourself some space and slide the left leg back out. Same thing with the bottom leg if it's bent underneath. Gentle release. Bring the feet maybe a little wider than hip distance, hands back behind you. Again, just a gentle windshield wiper, left and right, left and right. Good. And coming back to neutral, just find yourself in a comfy seat. We're about to come to lying down, and I would love if we could move into a supported bridge. If you have a block available, go ahead and grab a handy dandy block. If you don't have a block, that's okay. You can use book. You can use a pillow or like two pillows or a bolster if you like. There's a lot of different things that you can use. Just make sure it's nice and supportive for your supported bridge pose. So I'm going to give you just a minute, grab whatever you need. Again, block, books, or maybe a couple pillows. Once you have everything you need, we'll bend the knees, plant the feet, slide the hips down to the heel, and gently release all the way down to the back. Now, your prop is just going to hang out next to you for a moment. We're just going to lie down for a second and let the spine get used to lying down. In fact, we'll come into one of my favorite poses, bringing the feet about as wide as the mat. So wiggle your feet out when your pinky toes find the outer edges of the mat, hang out there. Then turn your big toes in, like the big toes want to look at one another. Then let your knees just fall in together. And the hands can rest by the side, on the belly, or up overhead. We'll just spend about 10 breaths here, finding a little bit of space around the sacrum, a little bit of ease along the spine as our first supine posture. Now, you may find that you are just deliciously comfortable exactly where you are and you have zero desire to move whatsoever. If that's the case, stay as you are. Maybe you don't have any props to use for your supported bridge. This is another great option to just kind of help release along the low back. If you'd like to join me in supported bridge, wiggle the feet just a little bit closer. They don't need to be fully hip distance. They definitely don't need to be together, but just make sure they're nice and firmly planted. Knees go back to about hip distance. Grab your prop, whatever that may be. Maybe see to it that it's maybe at its lowest level. And just a very gentle supported bridge. We'll lift the hips and you'll place your prop right underneath your sacrum. That sacrum is a little triangular bony structure right at the top of the glutes, and it should feel pretty comfortable wherever it lands. So if it doesn't feel comfortable, wiggle it up, wiggle it down till you find that sweet spot. Again, but it should be right at the top part of the glutes here. Now, when you find that sweet spot, hands rest down on either side. Maybe the feet wiggle out just a little bit and go about as wide as the mat again. There's really nothing we need to do at this point. We can just relax and breathe. This isn't one of those super intense postures. but it is full of benefits, especially for the brain and the lungs and the thyroid. Now, of course, if you prefer to make it a little bit more of an intense posture, I'm always full of suggestions and options for that as well. So, if you want to add a little bit more stretch through the hip flexors and along the abdomen and quads, you can scooch one foot forward straight. And maybe we just do one leg at a time, right? Especially if you're just trying it out, just try and make sure you're balanced on one side or the other in regards to time. Maybe it feels okay to extend the other leg out straight. So it's almost like we're in a shavasana that's kind of arched here. Your low back will tell you very quickly if that does not feel right for your practice today. Listen to your low back, let it go. I'll stay here for a couple minutes. Even though this pose may not be quite as intense as some of the others that we've explored, you may still have some of that habitual or sneaky tension across the face or shoulders, your belly or thighs. Scan the body for anywhere that may be just holding on to some unnecessary energy. And feel yourself take a slow exhale and let it go. And so if the legs are extended out straight, go ahead, take a moment, let your body know it's about to find some movement. And we're going to slide one foot in, plant it on the ground. Slide the other foot in, so both the feet are firmly planted again. Once you have both feet firmly planted on the floor, give the feet just a little push, just enough so you can lift the hips up. Take whatever prop is underneath you and set it aside. Hips slowly and softly releasing all the way down to the mat. Just a few rounds of windshield wipers of the knees. Knees fall left, knees fall right. And they just do the same thing all over again. And then we'll hug the knees into the chest, wrap the arms around the legs. Give the legs a nice little hug. Maybe rock side to side here. And then coming into a twist, we're going to let the knees go over to the left. You can use your left hand to assist the legs over. Maybe extend the right hand out to the right, shifting the gaze over to the right hand if that feels okay with the neck. If this feels too intense on the low back, you have the option to do one leg at a time. So maybe straighten your left leg and then just use the right leg to sweep up and over to the left. Now, this is a passive twist, meaning we want just as much softness in the body as possible. You may feel the thighs kind of squeezing in or the belly engaged or the head kind of pulling over to the side. Just try to relax. Let the muscles find softness. Sinking into your last deep exhale. Inhale, bring the head and the hips and the knees back to center. Just taking everything straight into the other side. Let the knees fall to the right, maybe using the right hand to assist the legs over there. Shifting the gaze over the left. And once you get settled in, let everything go, let everything soften. Last couple breaths. Now on your next inhale, bring the head and the hips and the knees back to center. Give the legs a hug one more time. Maybe a little rock side to side, massage the low back. And then making our way into our final Shavasana. You can bring the feet to find the earth and let the knees fall together again. That's an option, especially if the low back is a little tender. If it feels accessible or desirable, you can extend your legs out straight and let your feet fall away from each other. If you have a pillow or a bolster you want to place underneath your knees, you can do that as well. You're in your own space, so feel free to get as comfy as you like. Maybe turn the lights off or cover yourself up with a blanket. But once you get in that cozy space and that cozy position, let go of any and all effort that we've been working on. Even though the body has been passive through most of our practice today, fully and completely rest the body. Feel the weight of your body just soften into the floor. Part of our practice has been attempting to focus our mind steadily on the present moment, on the breath, on the experience. You can even let that go and allow whatever's happening in your internal environment, whatever's happening in your external environment, just be as it is for a few moments without feeling the need to change it, judge it. Just exist with everything as it is. Go ahead and let your body know that you will again soon find some movement. You may feel your body protest. That's okay. You don't have to move. You don't have to do anything. But if you are ready for movement again, find some gentle wiggles around your fingers and toes. Maybe softly roll around the wrists and the ankles. You're welcome to extend the arms overhead and point the toes, taking a long good morning stretch. If it feels right for you, you can roll over to your right side, resting there for a moment, offering the heart a couple deep breaths. If it's better for your body, come on up to a seat, however suits you. Just be, again, gentle, slow, just like we've been moving through our entire practice. Once you find that comfy seat, bring our hands again together to heart center, finding perhaps a closing gratitude or a closing prayer. Thank you all so much for taking time for stillness today, taking time to take care of yourselves. Have a beautiful rest of your day.